So Doobie and Esther, you've created One House in London. Tell me what is One House?
So one house is a social club. So we had the idea to set something up, which we felt just didn't really exist in London. Something that kind of catered to people of like different interests, different backgrounds, and the only thing that was really niche about it was the age range. So people in their 20s and 30s, but the whole idea around it is people coming together, doing things that they wouldn't usually do, or just putting themselves in new environments, but allowing themselves to meet people that they just wouldn't meet in their day to day lives. So it's just about having that social element that pushes us outside of our immediate circle and to like, yeah, be able to just meet people, do cool things without the kind of pressure of having to find people that 100% align with your interests and things like that.
And that didn't exist in London? I feel like London's such a big city and there would be so many
Yeah.
types of
Well,
clubs.
I think the thing about London is it caters to people that have specific interests. So, like, people will go running with people that like to run. People will go, like, who like R&B, for example. We love R&B. They will kind of
Mhm.
be in those kind of groups. But there isn't something where, okay, you can do yoga one day, you can go to an R&B listening event the next day. You can do a games night. So it's just having that variety in one space without having to go join this group for this, join this group for that, and join another one. So it's trying to kind of consolidate people. So what we like to say is we have something for everyone. So people with different interests, different backgrounds, different skill sets that want to learn and grow, but having that all in one space rather than having to find that in loads of different places, which we find that's what was happening in London beforehand.
You guys have quite a lot of events, right? Give me a sense of how many events you're hosting and what style of events they are.
We do, I think right now we're on about 5 or 6 per month. And we have some which are kind of recurring standards. So we always have a big monthly games night, which is the most active thing we do. We have more intimate dinners and brunches. So like we call that our supper clubs. And we have co-working. So people just kind of coming together, bringing their laptops and getting some stuff done. We have wellness sessions, but the wellness sessions are always different. So like Esther said, one month we could be doing like yoga, the next month we could be doing salsa, the next month we could be doing dodgeball, but all just under that wellness brand. And then we also have just kind of miscellaneous things that we throw out. So we've done like mansion parties, we've done private cinema screenings, we're about to do a holiday, but like those are our kind of are more try something new type events where it could always be something different as opposed to the standard regular ones that I named before.
Yeah, with home as well, we do basically each event is different. Sometimes picnic, potluck, creative activity. And part of me is looking to just, I envy the clubs that just have one thing and you know exactly
Mm.
what you're going to sign up for. On the other hand, I think people are enjoying the variety too. What are the most popular events for you out of curiosity?
Our games night for sure. It's
Games night.
chaotic, but
By far.
yeah, it's definitely our most popular event.
I think the games night is how most people find us because there are always those moments that like go up on the social media and people are like, oh, that looks really cool. People who like go out and do that on a Sunday. I want to try that out. So yeah.
Does that usually happen? Well, it happens at night, I assume. The other ones, are they during the day?
Yeah, I think we vary. So a lot of our things are either weekends or evenings after work. But yeah, we try to vary. So for example, we've got a film club just for the women coming up. It's like a full skin and screen, which is like a wellness film club, face masks, that kind of thing. And we
Nice.
have that in the day, and we wanted to try something a bit different because there's a lot happening in the evening, but sometimes you just want to go out in the day, get home, well, I mean, I like to get into bed early, so that kind of thing. So we're trying a variety of timings to, yeah, see if that works as well.
Yeah, I think that's like the key thing. Like it could be at different times in the day, but we kind of have a strict nothing past midnight kind of thing. Like you'll never find us doing a 3 a.m. club night or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's smart. Yeah, only bad stuff happens after midnight.
there we go.
Nothing good happens after midnight. Yeah. And so, okay, 5, 6 events per month. That's quite a lot. Are you two organizing everything? How does that work logistically behind the scenes?
Yeah, at the moment it's just us two. So yeah, very busy, very yeah, retired most of the time. But it's just us at the moment. But we do love it because I think if we weren't that close to it and we had a bigger team, we'd probably get a bit of FOMO. So yeah, it's just us two at the moment.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to what you said before, about like envying people that do one thing. I think sometimes we think would marketing be easier if we just did one thing? But then on the other hand, Esther and I are kind of we're really creative people and we really love kind of putting these event concepts together. So it's nice to always be able to be like, if we've never done that before, let's try that. We've never done that before. That could be really cool. People would love this, which I think we would have less control over, and we will one day have less control over when there's kind of more people and more hands on deck. But for now, it's us two, and I think we're getting it done, even if it's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, but no, what is good though is we have house warmers, which are people that come regularly and love one house, and they're really supportive, and they do like support us. So they might greet people at the door, or scan people in. So we have people that have become part of the community that have supported us, because we just wouldn't be able to do everything and be everywhere. So it has, as we grow, it's been really, really nice to see people just saying, "Oh, do you need a hand with this?" And being able to help us, because on the actual event days, we wouldn't be able to do it all.
No, that's so key. In Paris as well, I had volunteers help, and that was so crucial. Like someone who would welcome the new members. We'd have this like red bracelet tradition, and then I delegated an events team to like hosted the events, because doing weekly events is a lot of work. Even just like showing up, it just energetically, emotionally, it takes so much out, and it's so meaningful at the same time. But it's crazy to think of how much it takes a big emotional toll to do something so meaningful. And I'm wondering, yeah, is there an easier way to do it, or what's like the optimal way to do it? And I feel like what you're saying with the housewarmers, it's a cute name. Having volunteers and people help out, that probably helps a lot. I assume that they're not paid and they're just doing it because they care about the community and want to help.
Yeah, they're just they volunteer. Like we give them incentives and stuff like that. They volunteer because they love the space and they just want to they don't want to see it crumble.
They know how much work it is behind the scenes.
Literally. Yeah.
How does it work for
venues? How have you found stuff working though? Just back on that, how have you found stuff working with your kind of events guys that when you took a step back, like did they always keep the same level you would keep? Like how did that go?
Yeah, I'd say it worked out great, because the people who volunteered for the events love events planning. There are some people who just love to do that and will not get tired, probably extroverts. So the events team is just on fire, and they love planning the weekly events. And that's probably something that I don't love to do to that frequency. So it's probably a little bit more tiring for me, but they've been doing it really well. And I've even told them like, hey, if you guys want to do just 2 events a month, that's okay, even monthly. But they've been doing an event every week. Yeah. What we do though is I see that you guys do a lot of events indoors. How does it work with venues? Because we do a lot of events just in public settings, so that's not something that we deal with. What does that look like for you?
To be honest, it's so difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and I think London is probably one of the worst cities you can pick to try and find a venue in. But what's been good is we've grown as venues have reached out to us and want us to bring in people on days that aren't busy, which works really well for us. So, for example, a lot of our events are on a Sunday because of that. Otherwise, these venues would be very empty. So they offer us a Sunday. We offer to bring people, spend a certain amount. So that's worked out quite nicely for us in a lot of spaces. Yeah, going forward though, I think as we've grown, we found it more difficult because we've fortunately been able to outgrow our spaces. But the problem is there aren't very many spaces for more than 200 people in London, let alone ones that would work with us to bring a certain amount of people, particularly for our games night. So Doobie and I are tasked with trying to find a new venue for our monthly games night, which has not been easy. But to be honest, I'd say that's one of the hardest parts, if not the hardest part of what we do.
I'm really upset because there's a venue that we had for our first games nights, which was just like super quirky, super fun, but it's too small. And that's every single day. I want to go back there, but we can't go back because it's just small.
It's such a shame because it is such an exceptional venue and everyone loved it. But as in, it gets so hot. There's not enough space to move. Like it's one of those things that we actually just couldn't make it work, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, no.
How many people are showing up to these events?
So we usually sell out, which has been really great, at like about 160, 170.
170 people?
Yeah, so it's
oh my God, that's a lot.
It's a big one. Yeah, it's again, yeah, that's probably why it's so hard to find a replacement venue for that amount of people.
Okay,
That's
well,
for the games night though. So the games night we have it as like the active one with the 170 people. But then for something like a wellness or a supper club, that would be like 20, 30 people, and we might get like a couple of tables or spaces or whatever, just kind of depending on the month. But yeah, the games night, the big boy is
Yeah,
100,
I think so.
170.
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah,
good
we've
for
even
you.
had to reduce numbers at some point just to try and
Yeah.
allow for more space, but people weren't that happy with that. So yeah,
Okay,
we're trying to
well,
figure that one out.
before we jump into the pricing for the events, I think a big struggle or challenge for a lot of people growing new clubs is getting people to show up. And this has been a challenge for some of our branches too in different cities. How do you get so many people to show up for your events? What does that journey look like?
I think, to be honest, I think the first three, was it probably 3 months, 2 months, GB? It
Yeah, like
was
3 months.
so hard.
Yeah.
We were trying every avenue, like it was so hard. So we launched in October, and up until December, it was just so difficult. We were trying different Facebook groups, different apps, word of mouth. We were just trying everything. So it was really hard, to be
There was a
honest.
point where we were literally DMing people, like every follower that followed us on Instagram.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much.
Do you want to go?
Yes.
Yeah, it was tough. Call it guerrilla marketing. We would just, yeah, it was difficult. But then I don't know what happened. January this year, it just all started working out. And I don't really know, I don't know why, to be honest. It's been great, but
We know why. Esther's being modest. It was TikTok. It was TikTok. So we put a lot into like TikTok and Instagram marketing. Instagram's a little bit like easier because it's paid ads that we usually use, but like on TikTok is like you have a good video, you don't. And I had given up with TikTok. I was done. Esther was like, I'll just try one more time. Boom. And it just went on from there.
What was that video that took off and got a lot of people interested?
I think it was I think it was one of our games like at that venue. It was insane. First time, I think it was the first time we did games
I think it
night
was
in
the
that
first
way.
time. Yeah.
So what we were doing initially, and I don't know why we did this, we had like one venue, which was like a house. That was our original concept. And we'd have different things going on in the rooms, just to mirror like a house. You got this going on here, this going on here. So we'd have wellness in here, we'd have a brunch in here, we'd have a game show here, we'd have a games night here, we'd have a DJ there. And it was like, there's two of us, there's all these rooms, there's all these things going on, and it just didn't make any sense. So we were like, we're going to split them out and do them rather than one day of everything. We're going to do them different times throughout the month. This was the first time we were doing the games night and it's by itself. But the vibes were just immaculate. People were like dancing and singing. Had this, was it like fashion show? Like it was just, I can't explain it, but the vibes were just so good. So yeah, we just put a video together of that and it just kind of took off. And I think it's probably our one of, if not the most popular video we have to date. But yeah, no, it was, yeah, it's hard to describe, but I think about that often. That's probably one of the reasons why we love that venue so much because it was just so everyone was together and it was just it was a really good event. One of my favorite ones we've had so far.
And I think the quirkiness of that venue really helps with the visuals as well. That like
Yeah.
people were behaving as funny and laid back as the venue looked, if that kind of makes sense. And it just, the whole piece was just, it was, I think it was the point for us where like we really sat down and we were like, oh my gosh, our concept has come to life in a really interesting way. And everyone just kind of vibes with it and enjoyed it. And it just, yeah.
That's amazing. How many views did that video get?
Hello?
Oh,
Esther, your
can you
mic
hear
isn't
me?
working. I can
Esther's
hear
on
you,
mute.
Mark. Yeah, and I can't hear Esther though.
I see she's on mute.
And if she can hear us. Oh, there we go. Hello?
Let me see.
Let me message her.
Hello, can you hear me?
There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, it had a message pop up on my screen and then it just all went weird. But am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay,
Just asked
sorry
you,
about that.
how many views did that video get that took off?
I'm not sure. I think maybe like 17, 18,000. So, but I think that's the most popular one on our own channel. We've done a few collabs. We did a collab which was more popular, but it was probably the most popular one on our own.
Then that's awesome to know that you don't have to get millions of views for your club to attract a lot of people. It's like just getting the right views in the right location.
Yeah. And we find that as well. Some of our ones that will have like maybe like 4 or 5,000 views, but loads of interaction and will help us sell out an event way more than the ones that have a lot more. So I think being able to like really tap into who your audience is and that really reach them has helped us so much.
I also have an example when I went to Brussels to visit our home branch there. I made a video, I think it has 200,000 views, and actually, I don't think it attracted any new Brussels members. And it's something that we were talking about with our leaders, like, yeah, it has a lot of views, but didn't, I don't know, attract the right people or just people in different locations. But on the point of people having fun, I think that's so contagious and probably the strongest content that you can grab instead of something like that's visually appealing or anything, just showing people having fun. I think people can feel that and people want to be a part of that. And
Yeah.
it's not always easy to engineer because it's not like you can just be like, okay, now we're going to have fun. It's something that has to happen organically and people need to be vibing. And if the energy and the vibe is not there, then you can't force that.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think we definitely feel that. And I think we get one thing that I love, and it's one of my favorite compliments, is when we go to venues and they're like, this is like one of the best crowds. Like, we want to come. We've actually had one venue where someone called up their friends and they all came along.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
yeah.
One of
that's
the people
such
that
a great
work there,
sign.
Forgot
which is
so
about that.
very
great.
crazy, but good. But it's really nice. And I
That's
think
so great.
what happens sometimes is people will post on their stories. When we first started, I think the majority of people, be like 80-90% of people were coming by themselves. But what happens is people post on their story, their friends will be like, oh, what is this? And now it's down to about 50%. So many people now bring a friend, or they've heard about One House through word of mouth because their friends are posting or they're hearing about it. And it's really, really nice to kind of see that not only do we feel people are having fun, they actually are, and they're telling people about it, which has been really, really helpful for us.
And the other side of that is like people are finding their people as well. Like so many people have come up to us and been like, oh my gosh, I met a group of people. We hang out all the time. We have a group chat. We go on trips and all that kind of thing from One House. And so we've started to see people that like the first day of them coming came up to us and were like, oh my gosh, I'm a stranger here. I don't know anybody. Am I going to be okay? A couple months down the line are rolling in with their One House squad like, hey, which is really cool to see.
That's like the best sign of a strong community is people leaving with friends or making friends that meet up outside of the club. I'm curious why do you think you've attracted the right people that create a good vibe together? Is that something that you've done intentionally or it just happened by itself?
That's a combination of things. I think on one side, we've been, in fact, no, I think there's one thing that underpins the whole thing, and it's just like authenticity. We didn't try and make things too kind of perfect, polished, like the best, like most 3D visual graphics you've ever seen in your life. It was very much like, hey, we're doing this thing. We want it to feel like your house. Come and be yourself. Come and relax. Come and enjoy. And even like the funny clips we have where people just like acting a fool, like having fun. And I think when you put out that message of authenticity and you put out that message of like, we're not pretentious, we're very relaxed, we're very open, people gravitate to that. And especially kind of the introverts that don't necessarily want to deal with the noise of what do you do? What have you achieved? They gravitate to it because it's like, okay, cool, I don't have to do much or say much or be like this type of persona or this type of person to fit in. I can just be myself and find people like me.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think diversity also helps. I think the fact that we have such different people and everyone feels comfortable to be themselves. So like people let loose. Like one of the guys came up to me, I think I told you about this, GB, and he was just saying how his friends have like noticed a difference in him. Like he just feels so much more confident being himself. It like nearly made me cry. But it's like the first time that he's felt like he can really be himself and feel like he's in a safe space. And I think that kind of energy then translates, and then if someone else can be their authentic self, other people can feel the same, and it's just really, really nice to have that kind of feeling. So I think that kind of, again, is just super contagious, and it's one of the reasons why we get that vibe.
Yeah, and it's probably your content that acts as that magnet because besides the content, there isn't much that I feel like we control in terms of our branding or marketing, but it gives off a certain vibe and will hopefully attract people of that same vibe. I think for my club as well, I think I give off quite a wholesome vibe with our club, and I think it attracts wholesome people as well. And the only other ways to kind of filter out would be to have, applications and interviews and maybe have like more messaging around who it's for, just kind of in text on the website or whatever. but it's probably the content that plays the biggest part in attracting the right people. And I know we've had discussions, Doobie, about content and social media and such a big part of growing a club, getting people into the door through content. I know you're experimenting with some ads too, right?
So we used to use ads a lot on Eventbrite as well as Instagram. Eventbrite, we discovered over time we didn't really need. Instagram, we kind of stick to ads as and when we need them for kind of the bigger events. But again, even with the ads, it's like very group of people having fun, like authentic vibes, the music's fun, the music's jolly. It's not again like overly done, it's not like an overly big like production thing that you might see with some people with like 3D graphics rolling around and stuff like that. It's just very authentic clips kind of based stuff, which attracts the right kind of people. Yeah. I think another thing that we've done that helped a lot was we put a lot of time over the past few months into like the way we manage our online community is like away from social media, our online community as well. So we have like a couple of different channels Esther and I manage on like via our mailing list. We have a WhatsApp, and then we have kind of like hubs on other community platforms, Meetup, Clicks, all that kind of stuff. I think on there, we've been able to kind of, between the two of us, drive some really authentic conversations that give people that don't necessarily come to an event the first time they see us or can't come every single day, a chance to see what people are like before stepping through the door. So I think the best example is there are two people that come to our events pretty regularly, and they come from Bristol, which for those that like, if anyone like, Bristol is like a good 2 hours away from London, so it's a big travel in. And in the UK, you don't really tend to make that journey. But those guys are some of the most active people in our online community, like having conversations, having discussions, sharing their opinions, all that kind of thing. And it's helped to create that like intimate feel that people then expect when they go in person as well.
To have a WhatsApp group or not to have a WhatsApp group? That is the question. And I don't think either of us have an answer unless something's changed. Do you lean more WhatsApp group or not WhatsApp group?
Depends who you ask. I'm definitely Phoebe's laughing because he knows that I hate WhatsApp. I would ban the whole thing if I could. But I do appreciate that it has been so helpful for us and for other people. And I think it also gives people a space. Like there are some people that love our WhatsApp community, and it really, really helps them, and they get advice and they get to meet people. For me, I just get overwhelmed. So it's probably just, I
Same.
think, go to work, get up, it's like hundreds of messages. I'm like, what's going on? But I think some people love it. So if it helps them, then we'll keep it, DB.
I think WhatsApp is one of those things where it's just like, it's been a necessary evil, but it's definitely been an evil, like, because WhatsApp doesn't do itself any favors, because it's the platform that everyone has, it's the platform that everyone's going to go to at least to see what it's like. But then when you're in, there's such a lack of like, and they don't need to do this, but like there's such a lack of like community management. Like if you have community features, but you don't have a lot of community management, there's not a lot of way to kind of differentiate messages and stuff like that. There's not a lot of ways to moderate content. And so like you have this community that everyone uses that has really low barriers to entry, but because it has really low barriers to entry and everyone uses it, it can just very quickly become noise if you're not always like in telling people don't do that, do this, creating new chats, creating new space. Like it's a lot of work and effort. And I think Esther and I over the past few months have been like, okay, cool. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Do we move to another platform? Do we not move to another platform? Like that whole spiel. But it's like, it's here to stay.
It's
for now anyway.
No, I've also gone through the journey of starting with the WhatsApp group, then moving to Circle, but then Circle not being active. And now it feels like, okay, maybe we'll have the WhatsApp groups kind of be optional for people who want it. But it's not a community management platform. It's like an instant messaging platform. So I also get overwhelmed with, I don't like group chats, so I'm not active in any group chats. But people, especially in Paris, like every day, I think they're on there, and it's like a form of bonding almost. It feels like they're probably constantly in communication with them. So I guess having it for the people who want it, optional. And then the events, we're going to post the events maybe on a separate chat that's announcement only, or I know you post your events in, like you said, Eventbrite, Instagram, newsletter, and probably like lots of areas, right?
Yeah, literally, like if there's a platform, we've probably tried it at least once. Yeah.
Do you
but
have
it's
an
mostly
idea of
like,
what's most effective in terms of getting your events out?
I think, to be honest, I think even though we use a number of channels, as we've grown, I think we've needed less of them. I think once we post them on our socials, once we post them on Eventbrite, we tend to be okay with most things. But I don't know if it's because Eventbrite is the best platform or if our wider community just taps into our events, they would buy them more generally. Because, for example, for our 1 year event, we just posted the majority of those on our website and that was okay. So I think we tend to I think it depends on the type of event, really, and what's the most useful. But I think just posting on between our WhatsApp and our social media tends to help us, whichever platform we choose to use.
Let's talk about money. How do you price your events?
I think from early on, we wanted to make sure that we weren't charging ridiculous prices, particularly for London. So we tend to price our price of the majority of them tends to range from about £7 to £15. So our more niche wellness things that are a bit more expensive to run on the higher end of that, and then the things that are more um, easier to run and a bit bigger on the lower end of that. So that's our, like how we tend to price things. I'm not sure if you have anything to add on that.
no, that's it. I think we tried in the early stages to be on the more affordable side for people, like definitely. And I think a lot of people gravitated towards that. Because being in London, you can imagine like everything is like you step out of your house, you're spending so much in London. I think now we're thinking, okay, cool. Do we stick with tickets? Do we go more subscription model? Do we scrap both and just try and get like as many brand partnerships as we can? And I think between us, Esther and I are figuring out like what that best mix is. And I don't think there is a single cut solution, but we're like saying, okay, cool, what's good for us now? And we can come back to whether that's working in a couple of months or whatever. And I think that's been what we've done this year. Yeah, and just making incremental changes as and when we need to.
Yeah, it's this tug of war a little bit of, oh, we want to make the events accessible, but also the events cost money. We're also putting a lot of effort in. We'd also like this to grow. And the way that for myself, I want to turn this into a business. I want our impact to reach more people. I want it to make money. So, and I at the same time I feel this fear of doing it wrong. Like, oh, what if everyone's going to turn on me because we charge for events or we have a membership? And I'm trying to find the best way of like catering to different demographics, because there will be the people who are on a budget, and there'll be people who actually prefer to pay, and it'll attract a different audience too that I would like to attract to if it's if it's like a higher paid event. So what does that journey look like for you in terms of testing it and getting response from your community?
Yeah, I think we've had some pushback sometimes on things. For example, games night. We have a tiered pricing system, so it starts from £8, I think,
Eight
um,
plus
and then goes up
service.
to 15, depending. So like early bird, second release, final release. And as we've grown and as we've got more members, that means that the lower tier, the early birds and stuff, because that's a member priority, that means that's less available. So we did get some pushback on that. But I think where we felt comfortable, and we actually had a lot of our community actually defend us on this, which is really nice. We didn't have to say anything. Was that we think it's fair price, and outside of that, we have our membership, which is cheaper than all of them and includes everything. So if people do, and we have a really flexible cancellation policy as well. So if people do want to do come to our event regularly and want to have the most cost effective option, our membership, which is £9.99 a month and includes a games night plus another event, we feel like is very, very fair. So we just try to balance that. But it's interesting because we have some people that come to loads of events a month and are very, very happy to pay full price for all of those events and not get a membership, even though it'd be significantly more cost effective. And then we have other people that prefer membership. So it's I think it works really well for us to have that choice. And within that, we're able to cater to the majority of people, we like to think.
Yeah, so you're experimenting as well. It's like a membership, which is like a recurring subscription. So
Yeah.
at least you know that money's coming in. And I've talked to some other clubs that have a similar model, but they'll charge for the events on top of the membership. So meaning the membership just gives you access to buy tickets to the events. And that, I think, allows their club to grow more sustainably because the margins are so small anyways. So if there isn't an additional supply of income from their subscription on top of the event tickets, then it's like feels like it's it's not going to grow and make much money.
And that's what we've seen is like, it's not only about growing and making money, it's just like having the ability to plan and be flexible with things. So like at the start of the year, Esther and I saw way more people buying tickets when we first put out the event, and we were getting big inflows there. And so we kind of always knew, okay, cool, this percentage of people have bought earlier on, the rest will probably come, we'll be okay. But then over time, I think a lot of our audience has started to become more comfortable, and they've started to kind of like push back when they buy tickets for events. And we start to get like a huge influx in the final 2 weeks, 3 weeks before an event, 1 week before an event, which just makes things difficult to plan, because Esther and I will sit down and we'll be like, we really want to do this concept. We want to do this concept, but are we actually going to sell the tickets? Are ticket sales slow this month? There are people just taking a long time to buy. And okay, they all bought fine. It's just another case of that. And I think it's difficult because Esther and I, like I said, we love planning. We love putting these events on. We love getting creative with it. And there's so much we want to do. But getting that communication right of like, guys, we can only do this if we know we have the budget to do this, and we know we have the flexibility to do this. And so we have to do these changes so that we can provide you guys more of the stuff we love and create more of that vibe. And I think that's been where we've had to kind of be very cautious and very careful, so that people know that Esther and I care about this. Like, we care about the community, we care about the people, we care about the experience that they're having, but we've got to do what we've got to do to make it work.
Yeah. It's funny because I can relate to this feeling of we're on the same team, but then sometimes feel like I'm battling a little bit with my own community and members in terms of wanting to do something, but then feeling like there's pushback. But I want communication, but I don't want people to feel entitled to the club either. So it's an emotional journey that I didn't expect to face before starting the club. And it's interesting to observe it change over time as, again, like you said, kind of people feel more comfortable, they spend more time. Maybe there's also like dynamics that form within the club. I think maybe it's inevitable of a social club to face these social dynamics, and I've seen that within my own club. And then figuring out, okay, what's the best way to manage it so that is any of this landing with you?
Yeah.
Every club's gonna face, every person in the world is different. Every club's gonna face a challenge to kind of keep it authentic and keep people having fun while still maintaining a certain level of like boundaries. And I think
It's tough.
we've gone through that. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. I think what's helped me is having clear boundaries of like where it can get tricky and messy is when the messaging around we're a community and we're building this together, but in reality, each of our voices have different weights. And obviously, as the founder, I'm going to have the strongest weight and the strongest authority, but I also want you to feel empowered enough to share your opinion. Yeah. So what's helped me is to have clear boundaries with my community and to kind of show up as a leader rather than a friend first. And it reminds me of when I was running a company. I'm not friends with my employees. I mean, first we're coworkers, then we can be friends. And I think when those lines get blurred, it can get messy, especially when the time comes when there's a disagreement. So that's a change in the way that I've navigated leading my club since the beginning, is having clear boundaries of how things operate while still trying to create some sort of strong community culture.
I think that's been really, really important for us. We've had some challenges where we've had to kind of set boundaries, and I think it is making sure that we have that line between, we love fostering friendships, but that fundamentally, like, we're not friends in that sense. Like, it's not that kind of dynamic. So I think it's just being able to balance that and making sure that we are able to make friends for our community, but at the same time that there is that level of leadership and boundaries. Balancing that's been really, really important for us.
Yeah. I think we're still learning. Like, it's the first time. Well, Esther's done some of this quite similar before, but it's the first time I've ever been in this kind of environment and had this kind of seat. And it's been difficult because there are some people in the club that, like, I have genuinely called my friends, and Esther's genuinely called her friends, and we've been able to have a bond and done stuff outside of one house and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, you sit down and you think sometimes, oh, did they see me as the warden? And like, where do I draw the line between like, come to this because you guys want to chill and hang out, but then also, you know, I can't promote you guys going to this event if I have an event on this day, and like all of that kind of thing. So I think where we've had kind of the closer relationships with members of our community, that's been one dynamic. And where it's been kind of a more general, hey, friendly, open community, and we are literally just the, what do you want to call it, like moderators, administrators, whatever. That's also been a different dynamic as well. And yeah, we're learning like every single day how to do it and how to do it right. But yeah.
I think it's so great to have these conversations so that other founders building IRL clubs know that this might happen or it's normal. Or, if I had heard other IRL club founders talk about this, I would feel less alone or confused about it. So I'm grateful that we're all, opening up and sharing that side of things. The last thing that I wanted to kind of touch on is the future of One House and building a club, specifically from the business side. How do you think about that? Selling tickets is perhaps not super scalable because there's only so many events you can do and only so much you can charge for an event. How do you think about growing the club and growing the business as well?
Yeah, I think we're super excited and have a few things in the pipeline. One of the big things is scaling our membership. So we've been actively working on how we can really, the admin side of it, so that we can really focus on it. It's something that we haven't pushed our membership really at all beyond you can become one and it's on our website, because we want to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place to be able to scale that. So for me, that's one thing that I'm really, really excited about, and I'm sure Doobie's really excited about, because one, it allows that planning that we were speaking about earlier, and it also just allows people to feel more part of it. I think once you're a member, and it really helps kind of build those relationships. So I'm really, really excited about that. Um, yeah, that's probably one of the things I'm really looking forward to in the future, and also reaching out to me in new spaces, new places, new countries as well.
New countries.
Yeah, we did one in Amsterdam earlier in the year, which was really, really nice. We did a bunch there, so it'll be nice to venture out and build that out just as a tester. So yeah, really excited for that.
So memberships, recurring subscriptions, kind of being like the main first project to really optimize.
Yeah, for sure. That's our first thing on that next year. But also venturing out into some cool things. For example, we have our first retreat in Marrakesh in May. So being able to build things out like that, kind of stepping away from that regular London-based event, which we will keep doing, but offering stuff that is a bit bigger, a bit more accessible, and tapping into that global space.
Even outside of that, like Esther and I spent a lot of this year figuring out what it means to kind of run 6 events a month, 7 events per month, and still like have a pretty consistent community on top. I think next year, when we start to get those membership numbers up and all that kind of thing, it will just allow us to try more unique concepts and more different kind of things that really further pull people into the brand and show people what we mean when we say One House and what we mean when we say this is your second home, that perhaps we had to compromise a little bit on or be a little bit less flexible on this year with just like the constraints and restrictions we had. 2026 we're coming.
It's going to be a big year. That's exciting.
Yeah.
The retreat will be exciting. I'm sure people would love that too. It's something that I'm considering doing as well. And with the multi-country city expansion, just sharing from like personal experience, I'm like trying to figure out what the best way to do that is. That doesn't feel like now I'm just managing people as my full-time job.
Yeah.
I want to build a business, but I don't want to run a company. So at first I was like, we're going to be in 100 cities, and we're in 10 cities now. And now I'm like, actually, this is a good moment to take a step back and figure out what the right way of doing this is. So I'm sure you guys will learn and figure it out, and we'll have another conversation when you do.